World War II is one of the most extensive and studied wars in history. However, even today, many facts about it are distorted or misinterpreted. In this video, we will analyze several common myths about World War II and find out where the truth is and where the fiction is. Myth 1. France surrendered to Germany in a few days. This myth is based on the notion that France put up virtually no resistance to Germany in 1940. However, in fact, France fought for over a month, from May 10th to June 25th, 1940. The French army lost over 90,000 men killed and another 200,000 wounded and destroyed quite a bit of German equipment. The problem was not the lack of resistance, but strategic errors of the command and unexpectedly effective blitzkrieg tactics on the part of Germany. It is also worth considering the role of France's allies, such as Great Britain, which participated in the fighting, including at Dunkirk. However, despite the heroic resistance of individual units, strategic errors and German superiority in tactics played a key role in the fall of France. Myth number 2. German tanks were the most powerful at the beginning of the war. It is a common belief that Germany started the war with unrivaled tanks. But in reality, German vehicles such as the Panzer I and the Seku were inferior to the Soviet T-34 and even the French Char B-1 in armor and firepower. However, the Germans compensated for this with tactical innovations, effective interaction between branches of the army, and professional training of the crews. In addition, early in the war, the Germans used radio communications in tank units, which gave them an important advantage in coordinating actions on the battlefield. Germany subsequently developed more powerful tanks, such as the Tiger and Panther, but mass production and reliability remained a problem. Myth number 3. The Soviet Union won only in numbers. One often hears that the Soviet Union defeated Germany solely due to its vast human resources. However, this is a simplistic view. The Red Army improved tactics, strategic planning, and logistics. By 1943 to 1944, Soviet industry had mass-produced quality weapons, and the commanders had learned from their early defeats. In addition, the numerical advantage was not always on the side of the USSR, for example, in the Battle of Moscow, 1941, or the Battle of Kursk, 1943, the forces were roughly equal. Also, one should not forget the key role of intelligence, supply, and artillery, which by the end of the war had become the most important component of the Red Army's success. Myth number 4. The US won the war alone. Some people believe that World War II was won solely because of the United States. Certainly, America's contribution was enormous. Economic support for the Allies, supplying weapons and equipment, and participating in battles in Europe and the Pacific. However, Britain, the USSR, China, and other allies also played a crucial role in defeating Germany. For example, the USSR and Britain bore the brunt of the fight against Nazi Germany in Europe, while in the Pacific, China and Australia made significant contributions. Especially important was the Lend-Lease program, through which the US supplied equipment, food, and fuel to the Allies, which greatly accelerated their victory. Myth number 5. Germany could have won if it weren't for the winter. One of the popular myths is that the German army supposedly lost on the Eastern Front solely because of the harsh winter. However, the cold weather also hit the Red Army. The defeat of the Germans near Moscow in 1941 was primarily the result of their erroneous strategic decisions, stretched communications, and underestimation of Soviet resistance. Moreover, the winter of 1941 to 42 was severe, but not abnormal, and the Red Army was better prepared for it. In addition, Germany's failures continued into the summer of 1942, when it launched an offensive at Stalingrad and the Caucasus, but again faced serious problems in supply and strategic planning. Myth number 6. Japan surrendered only because of the atomic bombings. It is believed that Japan's surrender was caused solely by the atomic strikes on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. However, researchers note that the most important factor was also the Soviet Union's entry into the war against Japan in August 1945. The Soviets quickly defeated the Kwantung Army in Manchuria, which put the Japanese command in a desperate situation. Thus, the atomic bombings were an important, but not the only factor in the surrender. History is not a set of myths, but a complex system of facts, events, and consequences. By debunking popular misconceptions, we better understand how events really unfolded. If you found this interesting, Please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos.